Look at this abstract model. It represents the exact moment a hotel opens its doors on grand opening day. Months of rigid, static financial planning and system configurations finally collide with the unpredictable reality of live guest transactions. Moving from theoretical setups to real-world operations exposes the property to immense financial risk. Systems that performed perfectly in a closed testing environment are suddenly subjected to human error, unexpected data inputs, and raw operational volume. To manage this vulnerability, the Director of Finance and the Chief Accountant deploy a dedicated finance command team. Their sole focus is securing this fragile transition from pre-opening into live operations. Their primary objective here is highly active. They are stationed to monitor the initial wave of live transactions in real time as the very first guests interact with the property. The team concentrates specifically on high-risk data transfer points, the digital intersections where a transaction must successfully jump from the point-of-sale system to the property management system or out to external payment gateways. The ultimate metric for success on this first day is achieving a flawless audit by midnight. A clean audit on day one provides management and ownership with concrete, documented proof that the revenue systems actually function as designed. Assuming that pre-configured systems will operate flawlessly without real-time day one oversight is a systemic vulnerability. Teams specializing in complex hotel openings refuse to accept that risk, choosing instead to rigorously validate every step of the process. The execution of these financial controls begins hours before the first guest is permitted to check in. The finance command team's first mandate is entirely physical. They verify every single cash float designated for the front office and point-of-sale stations. This requires a strict chain of custody protocol. Every individual float must be officially signed out by authorized personnel, creating a documented trail. Before any money moves to operational floors, the cash is precisely manually counted alongside a finance officer to ensure starting totals perfectly match the general ledger. Once verified, the counted cash is securely transported and loaded into the physical tills. Every step of this physical movement is governed strictly by the property's cash management standard operating procedure, leaving no room for improvisation. Bypassing these manual checks during the chaos of opening day preparations invites immediate baseline discrepancies. If a till starts $50 short, the end-of-day reconciliation will fail, regardless of how perfectly the digital systems operate. Securing a verified physical cash baseline is the absolute mandatory prerequisite. The digital transactional data cannot be trusted if the starting point is compromised. With the physical cash secured, the doors open, the first guests arrive, and the focus shifts entirely to the digital architecture. The hotel's digital ecosystem relies on three core nodes: the point-of-sale systems, the external credit card gateways, and the central property management system. The Director of Finance actively executes communication tests between these three distinct platforms to ensure data routes correctly between them. This diagram outlines the path of the first live transactions, like a bar sale. These initial purchases are critical proof points. The transaction data originates at the point of sale, capturing item details and payment method. The packet requests authorization, clearing the external payment gateway to confirm the funds are captured. After authorization, the data routes into the property management system, which immediately splits the transaction into its component parts. This split is critical. The PMS must extract the tax portion and map it directly into general ledger liability accounts. Simultaneously, the remaining balance perfectly maps to correct internal departmental revenue accounts. If this mapping fails, if room tax is accidentally recorded as room revenue, the property instantly generates inaccurate financial statements and incurs incorrect tax liabilities. Effectively tracking a single live data packet all the way to the general ledger validates months of static configuration against real-world friction. A common operational assumption is that finance teams simply wait for the evening's night audit to identify system errors. Relying solely on an end-of-day audit on opening day is a systemic flaw. A configuration error unnoticed for 12 hours multiplies with every single transaction. To counter this, the Director of Finance mandates the first revenue reporting protocol. This protocol requires pulling mandatory snapshot revenue reports at predetermined midday intervals rather than waiting. This timeline visualizes the operational checkpoints. By enforcing these interventions at 12 p.m. and 4 p.m., the team creates hard stops in the data flow. The snapshot identifies immediate, isolated transactional posting errors. A single glitch, like a terminal double posting a service charge, rapidly multiplies forward as the day progresses. Left unchecked, that glitch triggers a cascade of errors by midnight. But with the snapshot, the error is bracketed and corrected, and the timeline continues smoothly. The midday snapshot allows the command team to intervene, isolate the faulty terminal or mapping code, and fix the glitch before it spreads to hundreds of folios. Proactive midday reporting acts as an active defense mechanism. It protects the structural integrity of the night audit by neutralizing data errors hours before final reconciliation. The operational timeline advances to the evening, entering the first night audit execution phase. The first night audit marks the official legal and fiscal closing of the property's first day of operation. The finance command team steps in to directly oversee the night auditor's workflow, ensuring every procedure is executed exactly to standard. The first critical verification step is confirming the absolute completeness of the day's revenue reconciliation, checking that every single charge posted correctly across all departments. Next, they match the physical payment drops, the cash collected and counted earlier, against the digital credit card batches processed by the external gateways. The final systemic operational step is the folio rollover, cleanly transferring the balances of all in-house guests to the next fiscal day. As a critical safety net, any account that fails to balance perfectly must be meticulously documented in an audit exception log, detailing the exact discrepancy amount and the root cause. This rigorous, step-by-step evening oversight takes the raw, chaotic transactional data from day one and finalizes it into permanent, auditable fiscal records. The final output of the night audit process is the generation of the inaugural Daily Revenue Report, or DRR. Printing this first report formally marks the official financial completion of the hotel's pre-opening phase. Producing a flawless DRR on the first attempt is only possible because of the proactive upstream interventions and the midday snapshot protocols executed earlier in the shift. Executing under this immense operational pressure while maintaining strict precision is a fundamental discipline emphasized in the programs at the Europe Hotel School London. The process demands total control over the full-day journey, starting from the manual counting of physical cash floats and ending with the final digital reconciliation of the general ledger accounts. The successful execution of the first night audit proves that the property's financial controls are live, secure, and ready for continuous operation. It gives management the confidence that every dollar generated is accurately captured and accounted for.